One of the biggest mistakes a player makes when stepping into coaching right after retirement is thinking they already know everything, when in reality, they know nothing. That was Carlo Ancelotti, one of the few who successfully made the transition, quietly exposing a truth that football has repeated over and over again. So why only a few? Because understanding football as a player and controlling it as a coach are two completely different worlds. And Argentina, at the 2010 World Cup, was a perfect example of what happens when someone confuses the two. They had everything: a golden generation of talent, a squad filled with players who had conquered Europe, lifted Champions League trophies, and dominated the biggest stages of club football. At the center of it all was Lionel Messi, the best player in the world at the time, entering the tournament at his absolute peak. Around him were warriors and match winners: Carlos Tevez, Gonzalo Higuain, Javier Mascherano, Ángel Di María, Diego Milito, Sergio Aguero. This was not just a strong team. This was a team that should have been champions. But standing on the touchline was a man the world both trusted and doubted: Diego Maradona, a legend with the ball, a question mark without it. When Maradona was appointed Argentina's head coach in 2008, it wasn't just a football decision, it was emotional. A nation placed its faith in its greatest son, hoping that the magic of 1986 could somehow return. This time, not through his feet, but through his mind. But there was one problem. Maradona had never proven himself as a coach. Before taking the national team job, his managerial career was almost non-existent. Brief, chaotic spells at Mandiu and Racing Club ended quickly, filled more with off-field drama than tactical identity. And yet somehow, the man who once carried a nation to World Cup glory was now entrusted with leading another golden generation. Why? Because of what he had done as a player, not because of what he could do as a coach. Argentina entered World Cup qualification not with confidence, but with instability. Maradona experimented constantly. In less than 2 years, he called up over 100 different players. There was no fixed structure, no clear system. It was like watching a painting being created, without knowing what it was supposed to become. Then came the collapse, a 6-1 defeat to Bolivia in La Paz. Not just a loss, a humiliation, a complete breakdown of a team that looked lost, disorganized, and exposed at every level. Maradona later said that every goal felt like a dagger in his heart. But for the rest of the world, it raised a much bigger question. Was he really the right man for the job? Argentina nearly didn't even make it to the World Cup. Late goals against Peru and Uruguay were all that saved them from disaster. And when qualification was finally secured, Maradona walked into a press conference and exploded. "Suck it, and keep sucking." It wasn't just defiance. It wasn't just emotion. It was chaos. And in many ways, it perfectly summarized his entire reign. Despite everything, Argentina arrived in South Africa as one of the favorites. And it made sense. Messi, the Ballon d'Or winner; Tevez, relentless and explosive; Higuain, a lethal finisher; Mascherano, the heart of the midfield; Di María, Milito, Aguero. This wasn't just talent, it was an embarrassment of riches. But football is never just about players, it's about how they are used. And that was where everything started to fall apart. Maradona brought not just his squad to South Africa, but his unpredictability with it. Confusing decisions, controversial omissions. Javier Zanetti and Esteban Cambiaso, key players in Inter Milan's historic treble-winning season, were left out, with no clear explanation. Juan Román Riquelme, the creative brain of Argentina, was absent due to a personal fallout with Maradona. In their place were players with less experience, less chemistry, less balance. Argentina didn't lack talent, they lacked structure. The tournament began. Argentina beat Nigeria 1-0, not convincing, but enough. They crushed South Korea 4-1, with Higuaín scoring a hat-trick. They defeated Greece 2-0. 3 wins out of 3. On the surface, everything looked perfect, but underneath, something felt wrong. Argentina played like a team without control. Their attacks were aggressive, almost reckless, kamikaze football. Messi dropped deeper and deeper, trying to connect everything. Mascherano ran endlessly, covering gaps that shouldn't have existed in the first place. But the system? There was none. In the round of 16, they faced Mexico. Argentina won 3-1, a convincing result. But if you looked closer, you could see it again. A team relying on moments, not structure. And moments don't last forever. Then came the quarterfinal. Germany, young, disciplined, organized. A team that knew exactly what it was doing. And that's when everything collapsed. 3rd minute. Thomas Müller scored. Too easy, too fast, too simple. Argentina hadn't even settled, and they were already behind. They had more possession, but no control. They attacked, but without direction. No structure, no plan, just individuals trying to create something out of nothing. Germany, on the other hand, were precise. Every movement had purpose. Every pass had intention. Podolski, Özil, closer. They weren't more talented than Argentina, but they were smarter. The second half turned into a nightmare. 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Argentina didn't just lose, they were dismantled. A team full of stars became a scattered group chasing shadows, desperate and disorganized. Messi was silent. Tevez lost control. Higuaín disappeared. Mascherano fought, but alone. And Maradona? He stood there, helpless. No solutions, no adjustments, no answers. The match ended, 4-0. One of the most painful defeats in Argentina's history. But the most painful part wasn't the scoreline. It was the feeling that they had wasted something special. A golden generation, a peak Messi, a moment in time that may never come again in the same way. After the World Cup, Maradona said, "I may leave tomorrow." And he did. Not just because of the defeat, but because of conflict with the AFA. A chaotic ending for a chaotic reign. Maradona's story at the 2010 World Cup is not simply about failure. It's about a genius in the wrong role, a man who could feel football better than anyone, but couldn't control it from the sidelines. He had conquered the world with his feet, but on the touchline, he couldn't do the same. And maybe that's what makes this story so haunting, not the 4-0 defeat, but the feeling that Argentina in 2010 could have been something so much greater. Because sometimes in football, just like in life, having everything is still not enough. If the man leading the way doesn't know where to go, reality is always unforgiving. It never allows illusions to last for long, especially when you refuse to step out of them in time.